Hello class, I'm here to talk about problem 4 of chapter 2. I advise you to watch problem 3 because on this one I'm gonna try to just go a little faster and show you how to graph everything also faster than have to do line by line and add and remove and add it and all that. One thing that we will have to notice here is that your constraint lines now they're presenting negative signs. Right here, your A is equivalent to your X, your B is equivalent to your Y. If you do remember back in algebra, when you have a negative Y, you need to either multiply or divide the equation, both sides, by negative, and consequently your inequality sign will turn. So right here, higher than, to turn this into a positive is going to become less or equals than, and here it's going to remain the same, and over here it's going to be um, we have less or equal is going to be higher or equal. Why do you need to do that? For the shading part. I even found here a further explanation if you want to look at it for the from the Khan Academy, graphing two variable inequalities, which does show in detail. I'm going to go quickly on the example one. Nothing changed because you have a positive y right here. But on the second one, on example 2, it says we wanted to graph minus 12x minus 4y less than 5. So we put in a slope intercept form. When we do that, that we isolate y to the left side and then x to the right side, everything else to the right side, you'll notice that you ended up with a negative y. So to make sure that we fix that, we multiply the whole equation by negative. So negative with negative, or in this case, we're dividing everything by 4, negative 4. So right here, negative 4y divided by negative 4 is equals a positive y. But look what happened to the inequality sign. You must switch. Now, instead of less than, is higher than, and then you're dividing 12x by a negative 4, so you have a negative 3x, and then you're dividing a positive 5 by a negative 4. Now you have a negative 5 divided by 4. And right here is telling you we shade above, not below, because this would be below, right, for less. But we shade above, not below, because y is greater than the other side of the inequality. So again, if you want to go ahead and look for this page, just go to the Khan Academy, Math, Algebra 1, Inequality, Systems and Graphs, Graphing two Variable Inequalities. Here is the link. If you prefer to just type the link, just stop the video, please, and then search for that link. Another thing that we're going to have to notice for this problem is for problem C over here, 4C, you're gonna have to refer to your book. And the reason is because you're gonna end up with all zero values over here. And when it comes to the graph, your points are gonna be on the origin, and that's when your book is gonna come into play, which I'm gonna go over this once we get to C. Okay, let's just get started over here. All I did is I just copied the constraint lines over here, and I put it over like this, but if you do feel very comfortable with math, you really don't need to go through all this. I just put this so you can see the steps. Right here, all I'm saying is that if you set up B to 0, what is going to be the value for A? Let's say that you just want to do it um, without even going through all this. If you set up this value to 0, right here. So you don't have B, correct? So all you have to solve is for A. So 3A equals to 60. Now you divide both sides by 3. So you're going to have equals 60 divided by 3. That's 20. That would be your answer. And the same you would be doing down here if you don't want to go through the whole equation. Now let's set A to 0. So A doesn't exist. So you have a negative, which goes back to that Khan Academy. Negative 4B equals to 60. So therefore, if you divide both sides by a negative 4, now you're going to have a positive b, and you're going to invert this inequality sign over here. Okay, so now we are working with less than or equals to, and divide 60 by minus 4, that's minus 15. So if you're pretty comfortable with the math, you really don't need to go through all this. Okay, I just do that so you can see how the calculation works. So let me go back here. So let's just do exactly what I just said, but now you can see it. 4 times 0, therefore we set up b to 0, so 4 times 0 is 0, correct? So then we have 3a equals 60, therefore now we have um, dividing both sides by 3, a equals 20. The same thing we did up there, just step by step. Now we're setting a to 0. 3 times 0, here is 0. Therefore, you have a negative 4b equals 60. So in order to fix that, let's divide both sides by a negative 4 and switch the inequality sign. And now we have the other point right here. Okay. And make sure that you keep that in mind for the negative. Let's go ahead and solve this one. So if we set b to 0, so we have 5 times 0, then we have 0, therefore minus 6a is equals 60, and a is equals 60 divided by minus 6. Okay, so you don't have to worry because it's not equivalent to your y. So we're good if the negative is on your x side. So your value is minus 10, therefore equals to this value. Therefore, we don't need to switch the inequality sign. Over here, if we set up a to 0, so minus 6 times 0 is 0. Therefore, we have a positive 5b equals 60. If you divide both sides by 5, we have a 12. Again, did you notice how the y is a positive? That's the importance, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, for our last one, we're going to do the same thing. Notice how you have a negative y. Okay, so we are inverting that inequality sign. So we're going to have 2 times 0, 0. So now we have 5a equals 0. A is equals 0 divided by 5, which we know is 0. Now we have set up this. We're going to set up this to 0, 5 times 0, and then 0. Therefore, we're going to have a negative 2b equals 0. Then we're going to divide both sides by a negative, which you will turn. Now we're going to have a higher than instead. Okay. And it's going to be 0 divided by minus 2 is 0. Anything divided by 0. So 0. There we go. Which we're going to go to your book to work on this one. So let's go up here. If you do have your Excel set up correctly, you do not need to go through all the trouble that I have gone before to add the graph and just get the shell and add the points. All you need to do is just to select all 4 points, and then you have to be on insert. Then you come over here to the chart right here, scatter with straight lines and markers. And if you notice, these are your points. You have a 20, a 0, and for b or y, you have a 0 and a minus 15 over here. So now it's also asking us not only to show the separate graph, but also the solutions that will satisfy. So the solutions in this case, remember that we switch over here. So b less or try to make it bold, less or equals to then minus 15, correct? So we are going to do less than or equals to, so anything below the line over here. In order to put the shade, just go to insert, shapes, this weird format right here, free form shape. Just click the mouse on the first point and let it go. Then drag it over here to the second point. Click the mouse once, let it go. The, the, the actual shape area would keep going. Any of those points would satisfy our constraints, but we don't need to do that. I'm just gonna show up to here. Okay, then let it go, and then click one more, and then click one more, and there we go. And this would be what they call my feasible solution. So right here, my feasible area. That would the solutions would satisfy each of the following constraints, which is in this case this one. Okay, over here, if you want to change the title to put the actual equation, go ahead. You don't have to. You can even go ahead and usually, I mean, that would be the correct thing to do to put a title. But I'm not requiring. Okay, since I started, let me finish 4B. Let me just do equals to 60. Okay. So for the second one, same thing. Just go ahead, select all four, going insert, go to the scatter with straight lines and markers, and there it is. You don't have to go through all that trouble and in editing and removing and all that. If your graph doesn't come the same way as mine, is because it's set up incorrectly. Okay. So again, why does it look weird? Well, because if you're noticing, it's showing the negative for the x. So this would be the left portion of the graph for x, and this it's your y. Over here, the negative it's for y, so it's below. See right here, that's your origin right there. This is your y right here, so minus 15. Therefore, that's why you went below the origin. This one, the origin is over here, is going to your left because A is a negative. And now we have that your B is less than or equals to, so the same situation as above, everything below this line. So we're going to go do insert shapes, free form, one click, let it go, another click, let it go, another click. Doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. If you want to go ahead, go and put the title minus 6a, so you know what it's referring to. I'm just gonna put equals to 60. Um, there we go. Now for my last one, if you go ahead and insert your graph right here, you're gonna notice that your point, it's right at the origin. Okay, right there. Do you see the little blue point? And then you think, okay, this is it, I'm done. Not necessarily. If you go to your book, which is the part that I was telling you right here, to find all solutions satisfying page 48, satisfying the constraint as an inequality, we first set R to 0, solve for t, blah, blah. And then it says, however, there you go. Setting t0 and solving for r provides the same point. However, we can obtain a second point on the line by setting t equal to any value other than 0 and then solving for r. So in this case, when they solved, they got t equals 100, r equals 100, and then they were able to actually have 2 points. 0, 0 right here and 100 and 100 over here, so they can just draw a line. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're just gonna pick any number over here, okay, and let's just say that a is 10. Okay, so if you would go over here and you would replace, you would do 5 times 10 minus 2b, so you're gonna have 50 minus 2b, and then you're gonna have minus 2b, well, minus 2b is looking as a formula in a format cells text. I want to look as a text. Let me try again. Perfect. Minus 2b, and I'm like putting 50 on this side now, correct? Minus 50, right? Therefore, if A is 10, uh, divide both sides, then B is going to be 25. So what you want to do, you can just go ahead and if you want to delete this whole thing, and now we're going to go back to the one that we go to the chart design, select the data, and I'm going to add my 0 and 0, which is my first point right there, and I'm going to add that if my X is 10, my Y is 25. And now you can see I actually have another point right here. But do keep in mind that you have switch now. Remember, instead of less or equals to, I switch because I multiply both sides by the negative. Now I have a higher or equals to. So we're going to do insert shapes, free form. So click there, let it go, click over here. So anything in this area and above would be my feasible region. Okay, and then if you want to go here, put the title 5a minus 2b equals 0. And it would be done with problem 4. So details that you have to pay attention because they will switch everything. Okay, and I hope this was helpful for problem 4. Thank you.